The other sense of the Swiss society, Hegelian tradition, Marx was even referring to this use of bürgerliche Gesellschaft, which was often translated as civil society, which meant actually the kind of economy, the bourgeois economy, the relations of it was the bürgerliche Gesellschaft in contrast to the political relations of the state, independent, an economy that was independent from the state. And that, we of course, many of those who thought that the market economy would bring along with it also forms of democratic government, were more or less following that kind of idea. So that I think that if we have independent economic actors, individuals with their own needs and interests and so forth, that they would promote also naturally kind of democratic forms of government. But they people with their own interest and promote their own interest and wills. Now, what is a bit even, let's say, even more, not even more, but also depressing news in the sense that there are a lot of challenges to democracy in those countries which are usually regarded as more or less free democratic countries, let's say Northwestern Europe or Northern America, or say like De La Porta, Italian born political sociologist, recently wrote this in book Can Democracy Be Saved, which came up in 2013. There are three tendencies that are going on in democratic countries: that the shift of power from parties to the executive or experts or whatever the state executives, the shift of power from the nation state to international government, which is of course the problem now in the European Union, whether we are for or against the European Union, but there are no democratic forms of government, or very limited forms of government participation on the European Union level. And the nation state is losing power, so even if we can fully participate and implement political will let's say, in Finland in our parliament elections, half of all the laws are made on the European Union level nowadays, which is a very complicated process how the electors in the nation state and how the national governments and so forth can participate in the European level decision making. And the third challenge, so to say, is the shift of power from the state to the market, which has been Porto even says proactively implies a shift from welfare state to warfare state. I'm not sure about that. And let's say that the parties function mainly to recruit and select political elites, just like the old Ludendorff anecdote in Weber's comment to Ludendorff. And there's weak trust in political parties overall, which is weak as well. So there's not much trust in political processes in our countries and political parties and so forth. And what it does is for winning the long run and the continuing and so forth, that's another issue. It's certainly been going on for a while. Now, till this conclusion of all this is then that actually what it all depends on is trust. But that's a very kind of easy solution to say in my mind. That that's many think of that kind of solution that if only we have, if societies would develop in more impersonal relationships of trust. We trust strangers, not only our relatives or our clan members or our mafia members or whatever, but also if we have more universal, less paternalistic relation of trust, more universal relation of trust. That's kind of the basic prerequisite of democratic forms of government as well. People are willing to trust strangers, so to say, that they won't, even if they get power in their hands, the other party gets power in their hands, they won't put me in prison or they won't crush me down, and I will still have possibilities to express my own political opinions and wills, and even might come to power next time and so forth. So I won't lose everything when I lose power, in a sense. But then again, that's almost the same as saying that that's kind of circular reasoning, in a sense. What are the conditions of universal trust in the game. How to create what are the social historical conditions for universal trust again. So it's more or less begs the question. Tilly wrote another book after this democracy book, which came out in 2010, I guess, which is called Trust, where he tried to analyze the social historical conditions of trust again. But it's not very, it's a bit almost the same story again in a sense. It's interesting and important book, but I'm not going to read it again. Now there's always been, in sociology and social science, since classical socialist times 100 years ago, 150 years ago, there's always been the idea that there's kind of a process of modernizations going on, that is potentially going on in developed and developing countries. And in this most abstract terms, modernization means that there are kind of pathwalistic orientations transforming into more universalistic ones. That people are not only members of their families, so big families, extended families, so their clan members, so their whatever ethnic minorities, so whatever, but they are members of greater human, even nations and humankinds and whatever. And Georg Simmel formulated very nicely, one of the classical socialists at the turn of the century, previous century, when he presented the three a priorities of society, of the constitution of society, that we relate to it, we always relate to, or we have to be able to relate to others in society, both as specific personalities, that I'm Jukka to my children and my wife, so I'm a particular person. And then I have kind of a more general roles in society, like I'm a professor, teacher, you are students, so you are colleagues, so we relate to each other in terms of these role orientations. And then we have, or I'm a member of the, let's say, minority or whatever as well, we say. And then the third condition is that we are all members, we all relate to each other as equal human beings, so we are in a most general form. And this in all societies, these conditions are, so they are inbuilt conditions of the society, and inbuilt conditions of sociology as well, in the sense of sociological reasoning. But that's again the same question, what does mean, how to break more paternalist orientations, how to make the people more universalistic in their orientations, how to make them more trustworthy in that general sense towards each other, and not see enemies everywhere else, so to say, expecting enemies and relations of that kind of towards each other. So it's, again, we know that, of course, the optimistic theories of modernization, in particular after the Second World War, and there was a very famous, interesting discussions about the convergence of the world, also socialist countries and capitalist countries were converging together, become more modern as well, both become modern as gradually coming to the same ends in the long run. And of course, these were quite optimistic kind of evolutionary schemes of social evolution, or sometimes even thought that societies without necessity automatically become modernized gradually with the economic development and the rise of the expert powers and education and whatever things, industrialization and so forth. But of course we nowadays know that it's not an automatic process, it's nothing that will be evolutionary necessity of processes. Well, I will come to an end. Just some, as you see, some notes and thoughts about. I don't have any very, as I said, it's all the result of my more recent reading process, trying to come to grips with that kind of what we have in, what we know in sociology about this phenomena. There's just a last remark, as I don't know if you know, but there's just for the last year or two, there's been a very interesting discussion in both in North America and in Europe about the increased inequality, economic and social inequality, which was inspired, of course, mostly by one single book, Thomas Piketty's. He's a Frenchman. It came out in French very year ago, but now it's recent, half a year ago, it came out in English. It's become a huge bestseller everywhere. It's sold in hundreds of thousands of copies sold all over the world, in translated in many languages. It's based on very, very interesting historical data, where Picardy shows that there are some kind of the relation between labor and capital, inequality between the sort of surplus value of profits and wages in the national product has been changing during it. It was the share of capital was big at the end of the 19th century, and then after the 1970s it's been decreasing again, inequality between wage workers and capitalists, so to say. Capitalists include, of course, directors of big firms who are salaried, but from these, get their salaries from profits, so to say, not ordinary wages. And it's been hugely increased. The gap has been increasing hugely since the 1970s. In particular in North America, but in other European countries as well, even in our Nordic welfare states, has been increasing. And this, of course, it's an interesting question why this happened, what happened, and why it happened like this. And Picardy doesn't have any real answer to that. And interestingly, it's exactly the, actually, income inequality has not increased among the, so much, slightly, it's increased slightly among the salaried and wage workers, among the high paid like professors and ordinary workers. But it's not increased so much. It's exactly increase in the share of the profits, so to say, that's been going on since the 1970s and 1980s. And Picardy does how much, well, it's not the subject of his book, it's analyzing the long trends and developments of that uses very complicated and interesting statistical data for tax offices statistics in many countries for 200 years almost, or something huge work. First done for the first time in history. And but of course there are some hints there. For instance, the role of labor unions have lost power in all of Europe nowadays. So social democratic labor unions and so forth have lost power. It all started, of course, with Thatcher. The first thing that Thatcher did was to cross the labor unions, shut down the mines, for instance. It was a huge influential labor unions and so forth. But the neoliberal economic policy started with Thatcherism and then spread out gradually through all Europe, even our Nordic social democratic welfare states are more or less following the same kind of politics nowadays, economic politics, for instance. And it has to do with internationalization, globalization, movement of capital, which has become more free. So to say, national states can't control anymore the investment politics and so forth and so forth. Anyway, there's an other recent book that's is not naturally not referring to Picardy's data at all, because it came out even earlier, but that's Mitchell's book on carbon democracy, where Mitchell claims that actually the democracy, coming back to what he actually means with it, that democracy is kind of this different meaning of democracy, but in his opinion, not only opinion, but his private one instance with his historical cases, so also following the history of the world history during the last 100 years or something, even more, 150 years, about the energy, production of energy in the world, where he claims that the change from coal-based energy to oil-based energy sources was the death blow to democracy in a sense in all over the world. And the argumentation is as such very simple, because oil is produced far away. It's not produced in the middle of, like coal was produced in Britain or Germany, in the middle of the country. There were millions of workers working in coal mines and coal industry and steel industry and so forth, which then was very strongly unionized quite early as well. Whereas oil is produced in Siberia, and there are only, according to some estimates, only some 3% of the Russian population are involved somehow in oil economy. Whereas the coal economy was there were tens of percents of people who were involved in coal economy. So they have those workers they could stop the whole economy by striking, by striking the lines. Or in transport system, transport of coal was of course a very big thing as well. The oil industry workers could do the same as well, of course, but they are very few. They don't do it because they are very well paid and they got high salaries and so forth. In that sense, and also are related to that, and kind of new elite workers, so to say, experts of the industry. And Mitchell is discussing not only the old oil countries, as we said, in the old oil countries, Arab countries and so forth, they are very seldom, if ever any democracy there. Because it's enough that the elites and the power holders of those states, they control the oil and they get the money, they export the oil, they get rich on the oil, and they don't need their people at all. They are just a nuisance for them. So it's enough that they have their small groups that are involved in the oil business and so forth. And that's Mitchell's very interesting argument, which in a sense fits very well in the Piketty's data, long-term data about increasing inequality in our countries. It's exactly the time when the coal-based economy collapsed, so to say, and was substituted for oil-based economy more or less in the 70s. It was the first oil crisis, then as we remember, and so forth. It was this tendency started then. But then, of course, this means that in this sense, they are speaking of some kind of what we call substantive conception of democracy, which means that it's not so much the forms, but it's how much power different groups in society have in implementing their own interests and promoting their own interests, like in labor unions or workers or middle classes or whatever, in getting their social conditions, to get better social conditions and so forth. Why, in this case, more or less, not only by parliamentary means, but more or less by other means, like labor union activities, like strikes and and so forth, and militant organizations and so forth. So in any case, that would be give some kind of it might be relevant, that kind of Mitchell's thesis of oil, from carbon democracy to oil democracy, and also we get this study about the decline of power of the labor, social parties, labor unions, and so forth in Europe, in Western Europe, in the late 20th century. It might be relevant also in considering, no one has really done it yet, but in considering different trajectories of the post-socialist countries, whether those countries that are very dependent on oil or other sort of single export products, where the elites of the country live well on the export, profits from the export of some simple export products like oil, whether they are less prone to be democratic than those countries which have other kind of basis of democratic organization, like let's say Baltic states or something like that. But that would of course demand much more systematic analysis and study. I haven't done anything like that. No one has done it so far, but it's an interesting hypothesis, and certainly not valid in all cases. I don't think Yellow-Russia hardly has any oil to export or anything like that, and it's not one of the modern states of democracy either. So it's but they do of course export. In a sense they export was true because they are just true. There is that might be also a case, so we can discuss that. It's interesting in that sense. But anyway, it's another, as we already did, the old Marxist tradition in Danish and in the Marx tradition, Marx was not a Democrat as we know, of course, because he associated it with even at times, even his son works like Ulrich, he seems to be claiming that kind of where the economy of free labor economy, free labor, wage laborers are free and equal, as we know, that they are free to sell and buy their own labor power. They are free to, they are just on the market, just like everyone else. And Marx somehow seemed to think that this is something like homologous to the bourgeois liberal democracy, that would be that they are that individualistic individuals, separate individuals making decisions on the political arena, just because of they are individuals in the free individuals in the economic sphere as well, workers included. And then of course the idea was that we need some, that it's not so much question of its formal equality and freedom of the electors and workers. We should pay attention more to their substantive rights and interests and how to promote them, how they can promote those via their own forms of organization, and like new forms of organization and political forms and so forth. So that's the, of course, all the classical labor in the 19th century, early 20th century, were of course promoting democracy, because that was the best way to organize working class and realize their own interests. But anyway, that's I think more or less what I have to say. It's been a bit scattered and different kinds of going around different kinds of ideas. I hope I will sometimes after a long period of thinking come to some kind of better ideas of my own or conclusions, but that's not certain yet. Thank you.